And we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to Sugoi Boyz, episode 16. And I'm going to have to mute my YouTube like I always have to do and always forget to do. It wouldn't be our weekly chat if I didn't do that. Hey, Killer Sushi. And hey, J-Chip. J-Chip's in the chat. Look at that.
Yeah. Our podcast, we're having our little Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. And boy, are we celebrating it. So with me, as always, is Art of Anime and J-Chip from the J-Chip Show. The recently resurrected back to YouTube fame Art of Anime, by the way, I must say. He has uploaded a video, and everyone should check it out. And
I think everybody's already checked it out.
Everyone should check it out again. Everyone should watch the entire thing, and then go to Patreon, and then give them money.
They should just fab to it.
Yeah. And then give both me and Justin money. Give everyone money. Like I always say, get $1 and give us each 33 repeating cents.
33.33 repeating, of course.
Yeah. That way we can appropriately buy gas, because it always rounds to like that 9/10 of a cent.
I thought that was appropriately
snowing out there, so I got to hire snow.
Oh yeah, he has to hire snow. Yeah, it's snowing. It's snowing in Wisconsin right now, everyone. Yeah. So winter's coming.
It's only light snow, but it's still snow.
In other Sugoi Boyz news, J-Chip Show does not have hair.
Yeah.
I see Food Wars where J-Chip lose his hair. Rip J-Chip hair.
Rip J-Chip.
Yeah.
I think it looks good. Don't listen to the chat. They're all going to make fun of you.
Justin, did you shave it because you wanted to start a food war?
Well, if I were to do that, I would have to meet Megami. And I would have to plea his god tongue.
Are you saying that you might have a Food Wars waifu?
Yeah. Whichever one's legal.
Oh my god. Alright, so I guess that's what you've been watching, Justin. You've been watching Food Wars?
No, I finished that. I finished the first season. I haven't seen the second season. I might.
You haven't seen Second Plate?
Let me know if you start the second plate, because we could watch it.
Okay. But the anime I'm watching is Shiki.
Ooh. We can talk about that even more when you do horror Halloween-y time future, but pretty good, if I remember.
So far, it's a good. I think it's kind of boring, but I don't know where the horror part is.
Give it like 7 or 8 episodes.
The beginning is not... It's a very slow start. Like, they did not turn on the gas in that show for like a little bit, and partially it's because... Oh, go ahead.
I'm 8 episodes in, and I'm still wondering, where's the horror?
Well, it's not. It's campy. It's setting up. This is like the beginning of Friday the 13th, when they're just like, oh, let's go in the woods and bang! And it's like that part. Now it's... But in this case, it's like, oh, we got these new neighbors that live in this, like, they've built this giant mansion thing, and it's Western looking, and it doesn't fit in here. Man, this village sucks. Hey, they don't seem to come out during the daytime. That's weird. We're never going to put 2 and 2 together until it's too late.
Pretty much, yeah. It reminds me a lot of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, how about the hairstyles?
Oh, the hairstyles are cheeky.
The hairstyles are nuts.
There's a blue-haired dude with like cat ears for hair, and I'm just like, did I accidentally put on Yu-Gi-Oh, or what am I watching here?
They aren't. He just has cat ears, by the way.
And I know
more about him. He just has cat ears.
And I don't like the way the characters look. I think they're ugly. Like the character designs.
Has an odd art style. I like the pink-haired girl. I like how she dresses.
I like the way the vampires look, though.
Whoa! You're not supposed to know that they're vampires. It's a spoiler.
Hey.
Because the village doesn't find out that they're vampires until there's like 5 minutes left in the show.
Hey, man.
No, you know that there's vampires going in. The worst part of it is that the people are so stupid that they don't it takes them forever. You realize that they're vampires light years, but a fucking Gurren Lagann before they find out that they're vampires.
Yeah, but besides Shiki, that's really about it.
Nice. Oh, and
we're watching Happy Sugar Life.
There we go. Happy Sugar Life.
How's that Yamada's first time?
I have not. I've seen one episode of Yamada's still. I have other things on my plate, like Happy Sugar Life, and I get to watch Angels of Death. I have not started that yet. But, and this is the hugest announcement, big announcements today on the Sugoi Boys. Chobits is done. I have finished Chobits. It's ogre. It's done.
But
it was not horrible.
I have to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened in Chobits?
It's a guy finds a robot girl, and there's a lot of mystery as to what she is, and it's a lot of meandering until the last 3 episodes, when then they're like, plot! And then they're fucking, and then there's Matrix people, and then there's like, then people aren't what they seem. Then there's mega computers in buildings that weirdly you would think that people would notice that there's mega computers in. But yeah, but it was an okay show. I feel like it's probably better told as a manga. Yeah,
but I like how in the comments they're saying that you're more like Misty Chronexia, meanwhile I'm the bald one.
Yeah, I'm far from bald, guys. Come on. Happy Sugar Life. Good luck. I'm planning checking that out soon. Happy Sugar Life is interesting. Does not have, I mean, not that this is a good representation all the time, but I'm surprised it does not have a higher MAL score than it does, which makes me worry about how it's going to conclude, because it's an interesting ride and it could go a lot of different ways. So, for those of you that don't know, Happy Sugar Life is this fucking insane show about a teenage girl who, on the surface of her, like, to people, her coworkers and everything, she's this normal, happy-go-lucky, hard-working, cute maid cafe girl or cat cafe girl. And, you know, she's really bubbly and has pink hair and smiles all the time, but she's a fucking serial killer, bitches. Yeah, and a kidnapper. And a lot of it is her trying to hide how she really is. And then there's a lot of shitty people who, honestly, a lot of people, I'm going to assume, would just prefer dead.
Okay. I didn't want to laugh while you were talking about Happy Sugar Life, but Gabe is like, Justin is bald, and Art looks like a cop.
Yeah, we got mustaches, we got bald, we got a lot of hair changes in tonight's cast, all right? Yeah, at least I look the same, I guess.
Why can't you just shave your beard for one day?
Light says, I don't understand what it feels like to be in love. You can't understand Chobits. I liked Chobits. It just took me almost a year to finish it. Because I didn't want to drop it. You know, I'm trying to take after you, Light.
But Chobits took me 2 weeks to finish when I first watched it.
Okay. It's not a show I could binge. It is so, like, the same emotion over and over. Isn't she cute? She said chi. She turned her head and said chi. And she doesn't understand because she's a robot. Isn't that cute? But she's trying to understand. Oh, yeah, and he loves her anyway, and he's a perv for some fucking reason. Sumomo! The show should have been about Sumomo, because Sumomo's great.
That's what Chibits is about.
There's a show called Chibits?
That's the OVA.
Oh. I thought Chibits was what Chibi Reviews called his fans. That's how I knew it.
I still think that's correct, though. I think he does.
Yeah. I know that part's true. I didn't know that there was another anime called Chibits. But
it's more about Sumomo.
If anybody's out there that has seen Chobits, you got to back me up. Sumomo is great. Sumomo's the little robot that is like the handheld version. I don't know if that means she's cheaper, but she's a little one and she dresses up like a genie, and she has this high-pitched, friendly voice, and she wakes you up every morning. And she's just like, wait, it's time for wakey exercises. And she blows a whistle. And they're not really exercises, it's just stretches. But the characters in the show complain about it, even though they do them. It's hilarious to me. I don't know. I like that part of the show. Because I would love to have a Sumomo. for non-sexual reasons.
Well, I mean,
What are you saying? Everybody talked at once.
Justin,
go. What did you say?
Sumomo is the size of your hand.
That's fine. She's perfect. She does everything the other Persicoms do.
She costs maybe like $60.
Yeah, she's like a phone. She searches the internet. She can talk to you. She has you do wakey exercises.
She can hook up to the internet and make you watch porn DVDs.
Yeah, you can watch porn on her.
Because I remember that.
Did you just say hook up to the internet and watch porn DVDs, by the way?
Yeah, that's what they said in the dub. I shit you not. That's what they say in the dub.
I believe you. Hold on, let me plug in my USB here so I can get my DVD working. Let me bypass all the websites I'm gonna type into.
In a world that has
living robots,
you would think they would just find it online.
No.
Maybe that'll be safer for your computer. Who knows?
Oh, my husband wants a little girl the size of his hand. Sorry. Hey, Matoy. Hey, Axel. Oh my God. All right. Well, Art, what have you been watching?
I'm getting back into Hunter x Hunter finally.
Oh, all right. There we go. It's because I kept going to Chobits.
It's because you kept going to Chobits, yes. I'm rewatching Revolutionary Girl Lieutenant. I'm watching Penguin Drum with Justin. Gonna finish Happy Sugar Life eventually. And as you know, I watched the first episode of Goblin Slayer.
Goblin Slayer! That's what I was trying to get to. Because
and we're also watching JoJo's.
Well,
and
JoJo.
But JoJo's not important. We gotta talk about
fuck that
Goblins.
shit. Goblin Slayer is sort of the inspiration for tonight's podcast because it's about edginess in anime, and mostly because the meme of Goblin Slayer has sort of become, I don't know what it is. I don't know what to call it now. It might not be edgy light, but people are sure acting like it is, and are sure acting offended, and are sure making fake complaints, I'm sure. I think I've seen episode 1. I know Art's seen episode 1. J-Chip, I'm pretty sure, said, fuck that noise.
Yeah. I'm not going to see it.
You're not going to see it. So
No.
If you haven't seen episode 1, we're probably going to spoil the shit out of it here, but not that there's anything that matters.
I don't give a fuck. I've already been spoiled to it.
I'm sure most of this chat has either heard about it or seen it, but there's a rape in there. And it's about people killing goblins. Specifically, one dude killing goblins because everybody else is fucking useless. But people are blowing up on the internet because it's a well-loved manga, gets an anime adaptation, and then, you know, you have the manga defenders who sit back and say, like, it's the fucking greatest thing since sliced bread, and the anime could do nothing wrong. And then you have the easily offended crowd who, if they don't agree with what they see in a Japanese cartoon, they're going to let everybody know about it, regardless if they care or if they're going to even bother continuing to watch the show, which I'm not. You can also watch it on YouTube, by the way. It has to be the most illegally uploaded episode of a show I've ever seen. There's at least 3 or 4 uploads of it. But Art made a really nice video about that. I suggest everybody go check that out. But Art, I'll ask you, if someone said, hey, Art, what's going on with Goblin Slayer? Why is it such a meme? Why is it so important? How would you explain that to people?
Oh, okay, but I don't think Goblin Slayer in itself is important. I think the whole thing around Goblin Slayer raises a bunch of questions, specifically one stemming off of what Light just said in chat. Because there's two sides to the whole Goblin Slayer thing. There's one, the side about the actual series itself, and then there's the separated side where people are complaining about what Crunchyroll did with it and how they handled it. Number one, I think this should be an eye-opener to people that they shouldn't trust Crunchyroll with their money.
By the way, you can get a link in the description. No, I was kidding.
They rated it PG, like Light just said. So either that's one, a mistake, or two, they didn't actually watch it. I'm kind of erring on the side that they didn't actually watch it because they were advertising it on Twitter as a very innocent show. They used a picture of Priestess and said, I want to go on an adventure.
But that adventure got dark.
And then there was another picture of Goblin Slayer himself that said, Goblin Slayer is not for the faint of heart. Which, all right, but that's not a real legit warning.
Right.
But on the same time, I think viewers should have their own responsibility in what they watch as well.
Yeah.
You can't just boot up an episode of Madoka Magica and be like, oh, this is a cute show, and then complain in episode 3 when one of the characters' heads gets cut off.
Whoa! Major spoilers for Madoka Magica. I like Madoka Magica a lot. Go watch it.
When it was airing. All right, that came as a shock and everything. But the difference here is Madoka happened 7 years ago. There have been many shows that are like Madoka Magica that came out that tricked you with their art style. One of the complaints I received on my video was people were tricked by the art style. Madoka did it 7 years ago, and it wasn't the first show to actually do it. You shouldn't fall for an art style.
No.
That's just...
To me, it looked like White Fox doing...
It looked like a regular White Fox show to me. It didn't look that much different than a Kame ga Kill.
Yeah, I would say that. Dark, very dark. And I say dark, I don't mean in... I mean in literal, physically... a lot of it takes place in a cave. But, it's pretty dark in there. And then they got... a lot of the, character designs look... as if that you could take people from Akame ga Kill or something and put fucking I guess they would be people in armor and swords and shit. But take people from that, put them in a fantasy setting, boom, there you go. And White Fox is they're starting to I don't know if they're losing ground with me. And not the quality of Goblin Slayer or the meme that is Goblin Slayer is not really tied to this, but it's more so a personal thing. Whereas I love the original Steins Gate, really disliked Steins Gate 0, loved Jormungand, and really hated Akame ga Kill. So it's anytime I see that it's White Fox, I'm this coin flip is gonna land somewhere. Where's it gonna go? And then. With Goblin Slayer, my husband doesn't fall for Studio Trigger art style. Studio Trigger art style. That's using the word art there is giving them some ground there. But with White Fox, I don't know. Like we said, I think or with Goblin Slayer rather, it looks pretty White Foxy, and then a lot of it was just dark. I don't think it looked all that great. If I was critiquing the first episode, regardless of what happened in that cave. I did not like the story. I did not like the characters that they provided me. I wasn't interested in the world and any world building that they managed to squeeze in there. And I didn't think it was that much better than a very average fantasy show. And I'm not someone that's super into fantasy stuff anyway. So I had no more reason to continue, but I had heard on the internet what the hell happened in it. So I was like, well, guess I'll see what everyone's whining about. And then that scene happened, and then you see people making videos on the internet that are like, yes, they animated that scene, and like it has like some contorted thumbnail of like.
I know exactly what video you're talking about.
But yeah, and like that did happen. We can't make it like unhappen, but I mean, I guess that happened in the manga. I'm going to assume. So I mean, I'm not.
I read the first chapter of the manga.
Okay.
And the anime was pretty faithful to it. It cut out some character backstory, and it obviously there were certain parts of the body that weren't animated during certain scenes.
Okay.
But if we're getting down to critiquing it, I think the only thing I actually liked about the show was Goblin Slayer himself.
I mean, he's kind of badass. Like I'll admit that.
I'm genuinely interested in his character, but the rest of the show I don't care about.
Yeah, I'm never going to watch another episode of this. People could tell me it's like awesome.
Supposedly, there's a scene coming up with meat shields.
That tells me that they're going to use their dicks as shields. I don't know.
That's what I'm getting in my comments. So I don't know what the meat shield scene is. A bunch of people have mentioned it.
I mean, if everybody wants a badass that's similar to the Goblin Slayer, everybody could just read Vinland Saga, because Vinland Saga is fucking awesome. And we're going to be getting an anime about that. God, I hope in the first episode they don't do something that offends anybody. I hope they don't like step on a bug and then you have fucking PETA getting pissed off. But
I'd love that.
Steins Gate Zero, it was not great, Sweet Pea. You're kind of right about that. I'd drop Steins Gate Zero. I don't know.
Vinland Saga. It's against the animals.
It's against the animals. They're all wearing furs and shit. He kills. He eats rabbits a lot because he has to.
Okay, PETA will be all over.
Yeah. Vinland Sagas will be awesome, Axel. So Justin, you're unique in our trio here, in the sense that you only know Goblin Slayer through us and through the internet. You have not watched any of it. You have not read any of it. As an outsider, how do you look at it?
As an outsider?
Or I guess I keep focusing on, I don't mean to focus on Goblin Slayer so much, I just mean, I guess, more the event that it is, if you get what I mean.
If I personally feel like it's not worth it getting into arguments like this, people are going to forget about this in 3 months and they're going to focus on the next thing that's going to be controversial. Like, it's not going to matter in like maybe 2 months even.
I mean,
anime is coming out more and more. Anime is coming out more and more, and people are going to forget about this pretty soon.
Yeah.
We can just count backwards. What was controversial last? Persona 5 the animation, because it sucked compared to the game. What was controversial last? Darling in the Franxx, because it stole from Evangelion.
Exactly.
This one is just, oh, it offends me. It's controversial. 'Cause rape.
I remember in Made in Abyss, some people didn't like
MIDI. MIDI.
That, but more so even at the beginning when they're in, like, when they get punished, like they strip them and they like hang them up. You remember? And then because they're kids, and like that weirded me out. But I wrote it off in my head. Like I was like, it's a weird thing. But it wasn't like, I'm not the type of person that's gonna sit here and let myself get bothered from like enjoying the rest of it or whatever. And I would say that about Goblin Slayer, but I didn't really enjoy the rest of it. But whatever. I mean, if it tickles your pickle, if you like that kind of thing, then whatever. Go ahead.
I don't know if there's any Goblin Slayer fans in the chat. I would be surprised if there were. But I actually want to kind of ask the fans of the Goblin Slayer and what they think about this. Like the genuine fans that have been reading the manga ever since.
Just go look at my comment section.
Yeah, if anybody in chat has read or watched Goblin Slayer, by all means, tell us what you think.
If you're a legit fan, what do you think?
When we were doing our little pregame here, Art brought up a tremendous point, tying it to something that we've been watching currently that we mentioned. you see people getting up in arms about Goblin Slayer. Happy Sugar Life has a girl who has bodies in trash bags and body parts in trash bags and fucking stabs people in the eye and shit.
And is pretty much a pedophile.
And there's pedo bear vibes, and they bathe together. Oh, I didn't really touch. She watches over this like young girl, probably 4 years old, and it's you're meant to believe that they live in the same building, which clearly didn't belong, which clearly had other residents at one point, but they're gone now. So. She takes care of this little girl, and she can't wait every day to come home from work and take a bath with this little girl, which they animate and they show it. I mean, they don't show it.
And there's the whole imagery with the vows and the veil, like a wedding.
They kiss, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They say that, yeah. My brother reads the manga. He says the controversy is so overblown and exaggerated over nothing. Yeah, I think so too.
I think we're all in the same boat. It really is.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil to it. I haven't even myself seen all of Berserk yet, but I know what happens in the last episode of Berserk. So like, if Berserk came out tomorrow, like the old Berserk, 97 Berserk, and like that thing that happens at the end happened, would people be all up in arms about it?
Most likely, because I decided to go back and I literally searched Berserk rape problematic, and lo and behold, I found a ton of threads about why there shouldn't be rape in Berserk and why Mira just ham-fisted it in. So I'm sure there would be. We'll wait and see till more Berserk comes out with 20 whatever, with the second half of the Hawk of the Millennium Empire.
2022.
But yeah, oh my god, there's so many. Like, I have a filter on it, so there's so many comments that I have to approve that really aren't that bad, but they contain certain words. So I have to keep clicking.
I want to see Goku.
The floodgates are open on these, by the way. Yeah, Miasma likes them young, like Sumomo. Sumomo's a fucking robot, all right? She doesn't have an age, and it's not sexual. I just would love a Sumomo to keep my life like orderly, wake me up in the morning, stuff. But yeah, I don't. I just love the fact that now I can go onto YouTube and I see YouTubers with thousands and thousands of views for X thoughts on Goblin Slayer, reaction to Goblin Slayer, defense of Goblin Slayer. People don't understand Goblin Slayer because of X. Your people are missing this because of Y. And for one episode of a show when we could all be spending our time, you know how many good shows there are out there that don't get promoted? White Fox. I'm looking at you. Show called Jormungand. Everybody should watch it. It's fucking great. I reviewed it. Justin reviewed it. It's a really great show that no one ever talks about. Here's some more comments. I don't watch porn about Sumomo. That might be something you do, Lane. I don't know.
This chat.
No more 3D Berserk. Let it die peacefully. I know one rape from Berserk that gets overblown, but the other ones actually matters. Okay. Like I said, I've only seen a couple episodes of Berserk, and then I know what happens at the end because of the internet. This is kind of why I haven't continued Berserk, because it's I want to, but then like I kind of know what's gonna happen, and so it's kind of a deal breaker. Even though I never really give a shit about spoilers.
I mean, the series doesn't end there.
Well, is it did the movies continue, or I know the manga?
The movies go past Golden Age to the end of the actual Golden Age arc because the series doesn't finish it.
Okay.
And then you have the CG anime, which sucks. So just read the manga.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've never seen Chobits Light. Well, you could watch Chobits, and it could take you less than a year. I can tell you that. It'll take you about 10 months. But it's pretty good. But I don't know. I feel like that so take like the edge factor of a show. This is a show that I always bring up that I think over the years has become a punching bag when it was once a thing that people kind of looked at and said that that's cool. That's a cool, different look on something. That's a cool art right there. That's cool art right there. Elfen Lied.
All right.
It's a show that I've seen 2 or 3 times. And while I enjoyed it way more my first time, I still think it's a pretty good anime. But a lot of people discredit it a lot because it's fucking weird. It's the guy that wrote it, Lin Okamoto, who also wrote fucking Brynhildr in the Darkness, which is also weird, is definitely a weird dude. But the story is good. He's got some weird like fetishy sexualized stuff in there. But if you're into gore, if you're into fucking cool anime powers like me, it's basically like the Miasma show, to be honest. But like episode 1 of Elfen Lied is fucking awesome because it has this girl walking around naked, ripping people's like arms and legs off and shit. And then you find out more, and then you get introduced to these like kind of shitty main characters. But yeah. So, but Elfen Lied, I always think it's become like the punching bag for people. Whereas at one point it was looked at like certain people look at it and they're like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool thing. And then other people are like, well, why is there so much nudity? Why is there so much gore? And something like, I mean, I feel like you kind of, when you, like the DVD box I have for Elfen Lied has blood all over it, dripping down the side and the words Elfen Lied. Like when I picked up that DVD, I didn't expect K-On! All right? I knew it was probably going to have something that's adulty.
Who that?
But yeah. Has anybody else seen Elfen Lied here?
Yeah.
Am I alone?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you enjoy it? Or
it was all right. It was all right. I had a lot of problems with the whole like main character incest subplot, all this and that. I really only cared about Lucy.
Yeah,
I'm pretty much the same. I thought Lucy
Coda
was
is not a great character. Coda does not do a whole lot.
But I kind of feel bad because like nowadays it's kind of like, yeah, it's trash and all this stuff. While back in the day it was praised.
Yeah, I still think it's like I did a video recently about horror anime and how we need more. I would like to see more gore with backing to it, right? So, because you could say like gory stuff, but you could say like Genocyber or Corpse Party, all right? I know I can see gore in anime. I know that. I've seen Corpse Party.
But it's not good gore.
But it's not good. There's no there's no substance to it. It's just, you might as well just show me pictures of anime girls being cut in half.
This is basically why like the only horror anime that I like actually like really enjoy and would want to go back to is Higurashi.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm on the same boat.
I've seen the first season of Higurashi.
But beyond that, like I think somebody needs to go back and like redo the Junji Ito collection.
Did they like fuck that up? I didn't see it.
It was so bad.
What were its like pitfalls? I've read Uzumaki, but I've seen Gyo.
The animation was very standard. Like it didn't take his art style and actually put it in your face. It just it took like the blur tool in Photoshop and just did that over it, and then they colored it in.
It has a lot of Dean quality.
Yeah, Studio Dean, which ironically is the same people that did Higurashi, and I'm praising that, but
I mean, hey, Dean can do good when they feel like it.
Isn't Dean Angel's Egg?
I don't know.
I believe so, but that's
back in the day.
That's before.
That's before they devolved.
I just don't understand, because recently they had like some really good stuff like Rakugo Shinju, Sakamoto, Konosuba.
Season 1 of Durarara, if I remember correctly.
That was Brains based.
Brains based. That's what. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Junji Ito collection, which by every measure should be better looking than all of those shows.
They did Vampire Knight, and it sucks to know that Vampire Knight looks better than Junji Ito collection.
Yeah. That and the other thing, I felt like Ito had a character which I really didn't connect with through the anime. And then I went back and I read like the manga chapters with him in it. It's the weird kid that bites on nails and everything. He was genuinely hilarious and at the same time creepy in the manga, and they didn't get either one of those right in the anime. Oh. He was just a boring thing. There were legitimately, because Gabriel brings up like the first episodes were terrible, but like it did creep him out at some points. There were stories that they did do well. I think that should have been like a 3 or 4 episode OVA at that point and just cut the bad ones. But there were some ones that were done decently.
Can we just have an Uzumaki movie, please? Because I love the manga Uzumaki, and people should read it because Junji Ito's art in the manga is fucking awesome.
I mean, I was like really hyped up for. I'm not that familiar with the names of all of his stuff, but the one with the grease.
I've only seen Gyo, which is the one about fish. And
okay, yeah, Gyo and Uzumaki I know by name. But it's the one where the guy is feeding his family just oil.
Okay.
And at one point, one of the characters goes on top of another, and his face just drips with oil.
I know there's a live action Uzumaki Light, but I want an anime one.
Like, it looks so disturbing in the manga, but in the anime it's just like those are dots and they have liquid coming out of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead. I was just gonna bring up Higurashi. So I only saw season 1, which when I say that to Higurashi fans, they're usually like, "You gotta watch season 2."
See, the way Higurashi and by extension Umineko, the way they're designed is the first arc is the question arc, and then the second one is the answer arc.
All right.
So the first season of Higurashi is all of the question arcs, and then the second is all of the answer arcs.
Had awesome death scenes. However, I got very tired of seeing lolly girls dying over and over again. And I don't think that the whole show should be judged for that, but I just really found out that it wasn't necessarily for me. And very interesting. If people in this chat have not seen it, Higurashi has one of the more interesting setups in all of anime where it like recycles is it 4 episodes?
It's every like 3 to 4 episodes where like somebody dies at the end of the arc, maybe one or multiple characters, and then in the following one they just start back from the beginning.
Yeah. And then different events unfold leading to someone else's demise. Or something else happens. I'd recommend it. It's got a cool OP. I'll give it that. But yeah, not everything.
If that bothered you with Higurashi, I would say not the anime. Either check out the manga or the visual novel to Umi Neko no Naku Koroni.
Okay.
It's the sequel to Higurashi, but it's the only lolly is a legitimate kid.
Now, and I don't have. Can I jump into Umi Neko without having?
As long as you know who Burn Castle is, yes.
I don't remember that. So I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I'd have to. I would do some Wikipedia.
You could realistically jump straight into Umineko. I'm just saying because you're going to see a character that reappears from Higurashi, and those scenes might confuse you a little.
Oh, okay. What do we got?
Art did a live stream of the Umineko.
Higurashi actually did explain the reset thing. If you watch Beyond Season 1.
It's, Season 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dean also did Hell Girl, and apparently Dean did Fruits Basket. So
yeah, they did.
There you go. I kind of want. I almost want to like save this for when we do like a Halloween cast, but it seems that in Japan, and maybe I'm going to say the term just an anime thing. Justin loves when I say that because it makes me feel pissed. But for some reason, there's a certain attraction to just throwing the little girl characters into something. Not necessarily if they're dying, but they could be like Hell Girl, like a supernatural being or a being with ties to the supernatural. So, but it's always it's and then Higurashi. It just the only thing I'm connecting them with is like this is young characters, and then you have Goblin Slayer where people are they're relatively young characters. They're 15-ish in the beginning. She's like I'm 15. So in that world, she talks about how she's an adult because she's 15. Where it's like so they're really drilling it into your head that like hey, this world has youngins out there doing some shit and some dark stuff might happen to young people. They're 15, and isn't that weird compared to our world? Like, I don't know. I want this. Like, I want my slash. I want some. I know all the anime studios are listening to this podcast for sure. Some studio make a fucking slasher anime with 20-year-olds. I don't give a fuck what they're doing.
I was gonna say, since you're going on about that, I don't think it's just an anime thing, or even just a Japanese thing. Like, I think Justin can really speak more on this. But if I think back to like the classic horror films, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, I think high school kids.
Yeah, a lot of the old slasher movies back in the day were all high school kids. I mean, sure, there was some with adults. But I feel like the slasher demographic is more aimed at teenagers. But even so, like the horror stuff, like, I don't know. What the fuck is his name?
Okay, but if you have a poster for the Halloween franchise, who appears on that poster?
Either Michael Myers or Jamie Lee Curtis.
Most of the time, Michael Myers, I would argue. More so. You could be right that Jamie Lee Curtis. If Friday the 13th, who's on the cover of the DVD?
It's always Jason.
Well, here's the thing. Those are recurring characters.
Okay. Hell Girl will have the Hell Girl, or whatever the fuck her name is.
Because she's a recurring character in Hell Girl.
Yes.
She's the main character.
Well, like, why does it have to be a little girl? I don't know. I don't understand why it has to be that way. Like, why can't it just be... And I feel like it sells more because of that, but I question why.
I think it's more like a psychological thing.
Like, why would this little girl be killing people?
Yeah, exactly.
But do people question why Jason Voorhees kills people?
But do you question why Freddy Krueger always has those little girls saying, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you?
I don't know. I'm assuming he killed them or something.
I mean,
he's a child.
Justin's got a point. That's kind of like the same thing. They aren't the main characters, but
they're in almost all the nightmares.
That's true. I watch Friday the 13th the least, the fewest of them. I think I've only seen the first one. But like the others. So, I'm sorry, Nightmare. I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street the least. So, like Friday the 13th, right? You never have a solid. Besides in the mini arc that was, who's the guy that tries to get revenge on Jason?
Tommy Jarvis.
Tommy Jarvis. Okay. Why can't we have a Tommy Jarvis in a horror anime? Why can't we have? And I get it. It's not Tommy. Jason Voorhees is far more appealing than Tommy Jarvis in terms of like a DVD cover. But
I mean, you got to sell your movie.
That's true. That's true. I guess this is one thing that Goblin Slayer is doing correct. Goblin Slayer has for their art that has the Goblin Slayer on it, it looks pretty good. When they try and have the little girl on it, I'm not nearly as interested. If they just had Goblin Slayer on there. Like, okay, I think I would love the show way more if the show started, I don't even have to know anything about him. If it was from Goblin Slayer's perspective, and he goes into this cave, and he found a bunch of fucking teenagers that were getting massacred, and then he pulled out his sword and he was a fucking badass and started killing all the goblins, and then you unravel why he's like that. Why he thinks every goblin should die.
That's actually cool that you bring that up, because one, if you saw the first episode from his perspective, you would have missed the whole first half. Which
I didn't like the first half, so that's fine.
But then we wouldn't have all this amazing stuff going on.
Like what? Them sitting in the bar and talking about how
I mean the beginning part in the cave and everything. He would have come into the picture after all of that. The only thing he would see is Wizard laying there half dead.
Well, they should have set it up so he came into that scene. Is what I'm saying.
Okay. Oh, so what you're saying is the opening.
He can come in. We can still see. Like, I don't want. Yeah, fucking show them all getting hacked up and whatever's going on. I don't give a fuck if people are offended. Whatever. That happened. Yeah, have him walking into that and then saving the day. Unfortunately, a little too late.
The other thing is there's actually a manga that's about his backstory.
All right. Well,
so that's the part I'm interested in.
My prayer is
answered. Read that.
It's answered.
So Goblin Slayer to be like a slasher villain or a hero.
A hero.
Slash villains or slash like goblins or whatever.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I'm sure they're gonna drill into your head that like they're gonna try to be like, no, should we really kill all the goblins? And he's like, yes, they're fucked up. They're gonna grow up to be fucked up, even though that's what he believes. And now, not necessarily. I don't agree with eradicating any species. I'm gonna go on record saying that. But
to be fair, someone made a great point on my video that the goblins are more like a virus than a species.
Yeah, that's true. Because they kind of just take women and, and they're gone just to make more goblins. And it seems like that's all they're really interested in. I don't know what the goblins do for, like, their other 23 hours and 59 minutes of the day. Gross goblins. Gross. You want Goblin Slayer to come on those corpses? No, I do not want Goblin Slayer coming on anything. I like that you don't see him. I like how he's in the armor. That's cool. I like the mystery of that. If Hellgirl was an octogenarian, people wouldn't like it.
How many old women in anime do you watch?
Lady Chiyo from Naruto. Shout out. No. That's true. Not many. It doesn't have to be old. It could just be like Karno Kyokai is fucking awesome. And it's about Shiki, who has two personalities, but is primarily a I don't know an age, maybe 20-year-old.
I think she's in her 20s.
She was in a coma for a while, but yeah, 20-year-old woman, badass fucking protagonist.
I mean, the whole thing with her early on, though, is she's mentally catching back up. Like, I don't remember which movie it was, but she was sitting there with the ice cream in her room.
The Haagen-Dazs, which they animated as Haagen-Dazs, by the way.
And she's just, like, scarily eating it.
Yeah.
Like, she's scared of everything around her.
You know, it's funny you bring up Kara no Kyokai, because there's an interesting scene in the third one that could relate to Goblin Slayer. So I'm just wondering, what do people think of that scene when it first came out?
Oh,
because that's a more brutal rape scene than Goblin Slayer can ever dream of.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And for I'm going to assume a majority of chat, any of us who have seen a little thing called hentai have certainly witnessed and I know that it's hentai, and I know that that's not on Crunchyroll, and I know that that's not available. However,
will make a fuck ton more money.
Far more. Case. I know that everyone in this chat has sat through at least 30 seconds of their lifetime seeing some sensei doing something not great with one of his students.
If Matsue's still in chat, he'll remember a little hentai called Magic Woman M. Where she got ass raped by a bunch of ogres and then impregnated by a bunch of Sahagins.
Shout out to oh my god, what's the one that Bob Samurai always talks? Sextra Credit.
Oh god.
You know about Sextra Credit? So if you've ever seen the dub, okay.
The dub's
everyone
beautiful.
Oh, my toy's still here. Okay, fuck those trolls, dude. All right, if you watch one hentai in your life, you have to watch Sextra Credit with the dub, because it is wonderful. Thank you, Bob Samurai, for showing me that.
Because I believe it has Yugi in it.
Dan Green's in it. Awesome.
I think it sounds like
his stepsister.
True.
There's a scene in Sextra Credit. Well, first of all, there's many. You can actually just YouTube like they have a compilation of all the funny voice lines in it. Like, you have less spine than a spina bifida victim. Why aren't people offended by that? But there's one point where it's about this like fucked up teacher guy like fucking a bunch of students and teachers and shit. And there's one point where he nails some schoolgirl in the bathroom, and he wears like a mask, and he rapes her. And at the end of it, she finds out who he is, and then she's like cool with it, and she questions it, and she turns to him and she goes, "Excuse me, I don't mean to be a burden, but can you tell me why you just raped me and sodomized me in the public bathroom?" And I was like, this is the greatest. This is the savior of anime. This is what we need. But that's a real line. But yes.
To talk about edgy stuff, what do you think of when people say it's edgy, so that must equal that it's bad? Like, do you think edgy equals bad?
I just tell them to go look at Adachi from Persona 4.
Yeah, pretty much.
When I think edgy, I think Reaper from Overwatch, because he literally has a skin where his pants say edge.
When I think edgy, I think Hellsing. But Hellsing's awesome.
I never finished. I have Hellsing Ultimate, and I've watched the first 5, but I kind of.
And yes, I like the original Hellsing.
No, I have not seen that. I've only seen Ultimate.
It didn't. I don't like well.
I don't like the weird tone shifts in Hellsing Ultimate.
More animated Alucard for me is more animated directions for me.
I believe the definition of edgy we're using is the connotation that the anime community uses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not using edgy in terms of like, oh, that's new, cool, and edgy.
Like,
well, even that, it doesn't mean bad.
Every seasonal chart, you will have someone complaining after week 1 or whatever that This is the Ed show this season. Isn't it shitty? Take a dump on it because it has dark, murderous themes and shit. Those shows are going to exist, and I think it's something that people should fucking get over. And I'm always promoting positivity over negativity in the sense that, like, I don't see the point in wasting my time complaining about the things that I know aren't for me. So even if I really watched seasonal anime, I would watch 1 or 2 episodes of a show and then be like, this isn't for me. Look at Handshakers. Handshakers I watched 5 episodes of back in the day. And I was doing that was back when I was trying to do weekly episode reviews.
5 episodes too many.
Yeah. But I didn't make 1,000 videos on why Handshakers was the worst anime ever made. I said, I made 1 video and I said, I'm going to stop. And I don't argue with people, but I know one person in a Discord, Rob, who likes Handshakers. If he's watching, he better speak up. He likes Handshakers. I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm sure other people will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just don't see the point in attacking a show because of necessarily, I guess, its nature of just, and especially even after 1 episode. Like maybe after it's over, if you didn't like how a certain thing went or something played out, then maybe you have some more ground. But I don't know. Justin, what do you think? So if someone says like, "Oh, this show looks too edgy," what's your reaction?
Okay. Like that's your opinion, man. But like,
see, I think edgy's one of them. But I have like this whole thing I'm writing right now, which is going to probably be my next video on why certain words in the anime community, and not just them, it goes beyond them. It can apply to other communities as well. Specifically, probably like music circles, where they just say a certain set of words and they're always either received positively or negatively. In the negative sense, you have edgy, you have generic. In the other sense, you have, for positive, you have unique, realistic. Those words don't always translate to good. If I think of a generic show, and I know Light's gonna disagree with me very hard on this one. If I think of, well, he might agree with the beginning sentiment, but not the ending. If I think of a generic show, a modern generic show, I think of My Hero Academia. Like, it's by the book shonen, for the most part.
It's very the same recipe that you've seen for a long time.
But I think it does it well enough to where fans of that formula say it does it very well. But obviously you have the camp of people that want to see different, and they don't want to see My Hero Academia as just this generic shonen. They want to see another shonen like Hunter x Hunter, like Hakusho. When you get to uniqueness, you have manga, and this is really what my video is about. Justin's probably knows where I'm going with this. You have manga like Dr. Stone, which is,
kill me now,
by all measures, I think it's an extremely unique concept where the whole world turns to stone, and this guy has to work from the ground up to rebuild society using all the science that he knows. And only the science he knows. The problem is, he knows all science.
He knows all science.
Yes. And then you have this thing about how his father was obsessed with fairy tales, so he told fairy tales to his descendants to make them come back into the modern world, which when you think of the first survivors and their descendants, you would be like, you want to know what the world was like before you just got born? Look over at that stone statue right over there. That used to be my school.
Why couldn't that guy just keep writing football manga? Isn't it the same dude?
This is the same guy that wrote I Shield 21.
I Shield 21. Pretty good.
Which me and Art read like the first few chapters or however it was, and it's immediately better.
I've seen 25 episodes of the anime.
Infinitely better than Dr. Stone off the first few chapters.
It is the best American football anime.
Because it's the only one.
Hey, you don't know that.
Hey, you're looking forward to that hockey one shot.
Yeah,
by the dude that did it and Reborn.
The last thing I'll say on this is that, and then what you were talking about reminded me of it, of how Hiroaka goes through a lot of the traditional boilerplate recipe sort of stuff that a lot of shonen have done. And certain people want it to be different in certain aspects. Some people might view it different in certain aspects. Some people might hate it because it seems like something that they've seen before. But Hiroaka, I watched the first 2 seasons of it, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm not going to continue it anymore, primarily because I do think it's just something I've seen a lot before, and I'm not that interested in it. But it's not something that I would shit on people for watching necessarily, but I think it is overhyped. But in something like, this is the only time where I really would attack Goblin Slayer, is me, and then tying this to what Justin talked about with Karno Kyokai, is that you can have, I don't mind if you have something that people describe as edgy in something, as long as it is appealing in other senses, in other variants, in other things, as long as it is interesting in other regards. However, if the animation isn't impressing me, if the characters aren't making me interested, if the world that you've built isn't attracting me in the least, then I'm not going to continue your show. Karno Kyokai is incredibly enticing and incredibly visually stunning, and the fucking music is awesome. Yeah, it has a movie budget. That's that. But it has that scene at the beginning of movie 3. And while it's a pretty fucked up scene, movie 3, so far, I like one of the better Karno Kyokai movies that I've seen. Still awesome movie.
Movie 3 was my second or third favorite one.
Awesome movie.
It was great.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
And just because of that rape scene, it doesn't make me want to be more interested or less interested in other works to see like I don't want to. It doesn't make me not want to hate Karno Kyokai, I guess.
That scene has a purpose.
Yeah, it does.
That scene has a purpose for telling you why Fushino, or whatever her name is doing what she's doing, why she is the way
it's not rape for the sake of fan service or fetishizing rape.
Yep.
There's a purpose for it.
And maybe Goblin Slayer has a purpose down the line. I'm not going to find out because I'm not watching anymore. And I don't give a shit what anybody says unless they donate money to my Patreon, which you can, check me out on Patreon, and you can make me watch Goblin Slayer when it's done. But speaking of Patreon, everybody should really check out these two guys. They both make awesome videos. Check out their channels. And anything you guys wanted to touch on at the last second. I feel like I talked a lot this time. But so, okay, Justin, I take it you're not going to have any interest in the future in Goblin Slayer whatsoever.
If people want me to watch it, they know where to
All right,
go.
you can donate money to Justin on Patreon and make him watch Goblin Slayer.
As long as it's 26 episodes long. If it gets to 20, then I'm no for me.
I think it's an ongoing series. Actually, I believe it started as light novels.
But yeah, it started as light novels, then it got turned into a manga. Now it's on episode 2.
Okay. I might check out Dark Cat because your little description of it earlier, light, sounded cool. But in art, I take it you might be all done with Goblin. What's your future looking like with Goblins? Goblin Slayer.
When the episode about these meat shields come out, I might check it out. But other than that, I'm not feeling it. I'll probably read the backstory of the Goblin Slayer character.
That seems interesting.
But I have no interest in watching the rest of the anime.
Also, people have been comparing that show and Grimgar, Illusion and Ashes, and if you know me, you know my opinions on that show. I think it's really boring, and I don't like watching shows where I'm going to forget the characters in a week.
Ooh, there you go.
But how could you forget Goblin Slayer as a character?
He doesn't even have a name.
Well, I mean, exactly. I guess that's good marketing.
How could you forget about Witch Girl or Magus or whatever they call her?
Yeah,
And
there was a character.
Fighter
and martial art girl. Why is there a martial art girl?
Because the party is a priest, a wizard, a fighter, the monk. Like Final Fantasy 1, you had warrior, monk, white mage, black mage, and if you wanted red mage and thief, they cut out red mage and thief and gave you the other 4.
Why can't we have a green mage?
Because those only existed in 12.
Why can't we have a yellow mage?
Because those never existed.
Why can't we have yellow mages? That seems pretty racist against mages who happen to like the color yellow. All right. All right. On that note, thank you everybody. Thank you, chat, for your fine suggestions of anime and telling us that our opinions are shit and so forth, and commenting on our different hair news that we've had tonight.
I saw Justin got called Hot Bald Boy a few times.
Oh yeah.
Hot Bald Boy. I like it.
Thank you. That's gonna be
check out his YouTube channel, the Hot Bald Boy Show.
That's gonna be my stripper name when I go big. When I go big, that'll be my stripper name.
You heard it here, folks. All right, guys. Thank you, chat, for watching. We will see you guys next week. See ya.